Prepare to get your ears tortured.
It's From the Front Row
with Johnathan T. Rokford.
No flip. Hey, you know why you don't let IT guys come over your house? Because they'll bang your motherboard. Get it? They'll bang your motherboard. What's up, WP? It's me. It's me. Johnathan T. Rokford here with another edition of From the Front Row. And what a week we had last week. Just banger after banger of a match as we head on to WrestleMania, folks. We also had a couple weeks of a lot of tense situations here in WPA, and we'll address that. But first, before we begin, we were delivered a message via our email, as we've been getting a lot of messages here, this time from the law offices of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. And this message is addressed to the world champion Jermaine Walker and WPA. And it reads, right now we at the law offices of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe have quite a bit on our plate with a frivolous lawsuit currently in place. However, there is an important matter that needs to be addressed. Mr. Walker, recently you issued a challenge to one Mr. James Altrez to be added to the World Championship match at WrestleMania. Currently, we have been informed that Mr. Altrez is being treated at a private medical facility due to the injuries sustained at the Royal Rumble. That was some shit. However, we can confirm that Mr. Altrez will respond to the challenge and give you his answer in 1 week's time. Now, when we received this message, it was last week, meaning we should get an answer from James Altrez this week. This should be good. I wonder what he's going to say. I mean, only a fool would say no. I mean, come on. Golden ticket to WrestleMania in a World Championship match? Then again, you never know. He could be dumb and say no. Yeah, there's a lot of lawsuits going on. There's only one of them that I see that hasn't been filed. And people might want to watch it because we'll talk about that in a little bit. But some of y'all are looking at a defamation suit. Our game changer champ was in action as Fat Thomas was taking on Captain Mexico. And I don't know how we kept finding nachos, but we found them, folks. That match is still going on. It's funny because Thomas keeps taking breaks in between the match to eat some nachos. Yeah, he even dips them. He double dips. Fucking dastardly. Now, KO Jason Shepard was on commentary because his opponent, the investor, didn't show up. So he had the luxury of just chilling. He was ready to go too. Oh yeah. He was geared up for that match. He was a little disappointed. Now, I don't know how this got booked, but Red Death took on Money, which those two are teammates on the Trios Championship, but as such in life, you never know who you're going to face here in WPA, and Money defeated Red Death. You know, last time somebody was facing Jermaine faced, well, no, not the last time. Probably the time before that. When Sean Puff was about to face Jermaine Walker, he went on a bit of a losing streak. And he lost. Then again, Johnny Rocco came in on a winning streak and lost. So keep your head up, Red Death. You never know. Maybe the third time's a charm. Now, Captain Mexico, our Intercontinental Champion, was taking on the Kingpin, JP DiMaggio, and it was, by my estimation, and granted we had a couple of draws, folks, but this was match of the night. They fought back and forth to a time limit draw. I mean, there was moves, counter moves, bodies flying off the top rope. You name it, they did it. I want to see a part 2 to that match. Yeah. For the title of that. That'd be a good match. Now, Wolf Knight took on the First Lady in our next match. And Wolf Knight picked up the win over the First Lady. Go figure. I know, I guess everybody has a bad day. But hey, hats off to Wolf Knight. You know, he is kind of tough, though. He ain't no slouch. So, not really that surprised by it. Could have went either way. It was a good match, though. Now, Texas Hate You took on Big Mel, and once again, Big Mel proved his dominance in defeating Texas Hate You. Now, the weird thing is, those two are actually in that U.S. Championship match. I wonder who Texas is going to go after first. I'd go after. I mean, if I was Big Mel, I'd go after Texas Hate You, try to pin him again. But you know, that's a pretty big field of competition. All mostly former world champs in that challenge. Should be pretty good. He might get a new champion heading into WrestleMania. You never know. Donnie Boy took on Mac Blakely, and after suffering defeat and losing his first singles title, he picked up the win. And that's how you come back, folks. It's like giving up a home run and then on the next pitches, you strike out the next batter. It's like throwing an interception and then the next time you're in the field, you throw a touchdown 58 yards down the field. You get back up. You lace them back up. And you produce a win. Now, Draven, the Sledgehammer, took on Lady Assassin, and he was able to pick up the win. You know, that was, guys that are going into this match, he's one of them. You know, Draven's getting a lot of matches for titles lately. He has a U.S. title match coming up. And then at WrestleMania, he's got an IC title match. Could this be the year of the Draven? If he should win, that means he'd have both. If he should win both weeks, that means he'll have 2 titles. Hey, anything's possible here in WBA. Now, in a match that produced a very touchy situation here in WPA and caused a lot of, I don't know if I want to say anger, maybe more frustration than anything. The Blueprint, Jackson Ayers, took on the resident Lippy Karen, Luscious Lucius, who, now I'm going to make sure I say this the way that Luscious Lucius say, because I don't want to misquote anybody. Thinks he's a woman now because he makes sandwiches. We're going to get to that later. But in true Karen fashion, after complaining about wanting a title shot, Lucius did what Lucius does, and that's lose a match. Now, I will say, Luscious Lucius did have that one good match in that triple threat contender match. Of course, he lost the title match on that one. But hey, overall, since he's lost the tag titles, actually starting there when he let his partner down, very subpar performance. Yeah, I mean, like worse than Martel performance. But Jackson Ayers, who needed to win, did pick it up. And here's the part that's bewildering to me, folks. People were calling Jackson Ayers a woman beater, and I'm trying to figure out where that's coming from, since all the women here in WPA face guys on a consistent basis every week. So I guess that would make every guy in WPA a woman beater? I mean, he did beat him. Her, him, whatever the fuck. He did beat Luscious Lucius. Of course, when the match was scheduled, Luscious Lucius hadn't made the announcement yet. So, in Jackson Ayers' defense, he was fighting the guy. Yeah, I got a lot to pack, right? Now, Johnny Rocco was looking for a good challenge, and he found it in Siren, as Queen Siren picked up the win in a narrow victory over Johnny Rocco. Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, heading into WrestleMania. Hey, getting a tough opponent, I think, prepares you for what's coming down the road. WrestleMania season, you're going to be putting that title on. Actually, she's going to have back-to-back defenses because she'll be defending her tag team title this week. She's going to be one busy champion. Now, the Master Sean Puff took on El Gordo Enmascarado. And you know what, folks? I had a recent talk with Dirk Gently, and he asked me if I still think the El Gordo is Fat Thomas. And you know what, folks? I watched the video. A little doubt crept in my head now. I mean, that was my number one suspect, but I don't know. After that video, I have some doubts. It is Fat Thomas. I have no doubts that El Gordo beat the Master Sean Puff. Yeah, he was gunning for Sean Puff. He did a couple of videos for that one. I don't know, folks. We'll find out one day who El Gordo is, I guess. I don't know. Maybe somebody will rip his mask off, you know. I don't know. Now, our last singles match, or non-title match, or non-contender match, was between Jermaine Walker and Tezzeret. And I would say that was probably the second best match of the night, as Tezzeret and Jermaine received a double countout when the match spilled outside the ring and they couldn't make the referees count. And you know, two banger matches. Time limit drawn and a double countout. You know, that could have went either. It almost looked like that match could have went either way. The probability was on Jermaine's side, but I don't know. Tezzeret held his own. I know he earned the champ's respect after that one. So let's hope he and Siren bring that same intensity when they defend their tag team titles. I'd hate to see them lose it. You know, and yes, I'm gonna double check it later. But I think Tezzeret and Siren are the first mixed team to win the tag team titles, which would mean Siren's the first lady to hold tag team gold, not counting trios. I don't even think we've had a female with the trios titles. Well, hopefully she's keeping track of it. Now we moved on to number one contender matches, and the first one was for the Triple Threat Championship to determine who would go and fight for that title. And match one saw Kwani Fizz versus Crusher LB versus Polish Power, and Polish Power picked up the win after he pinned Crusher LB. Now in match two, we had Shark Boy versus Shepherd Bane versus the standard Starling J. And in true fashion, I was expecting her to lose. I'm sorry. I really did. I didn't think she was going to win. And she did. She won and moved on to a Triple Threat Championship match. Hey, congratulations, Starling J. I think she was a little angry. She fought mad. She fought with intensity. Did I just give her a compliment? God, what's in this drink? Ah. Now, second number one contender match was to determine who would face the Trios champs. And it was Killer Goons, Casper, Brass Hole, Money, MF, and Mike taking on the Super Fight Champion, Super Champion King, Wraith, and the Emperor, the OGs of WPA. And the Super Champion King, he couldn't find him. So it became a 3-on-2 match. And the match was won once Casper pinned the Emperor 2K Anomalium. Now, of course, Casper will say it was rigged. I don't know, maybe the Killer Goons took him out. Put the odds on their side. What do you think, Flip? It's highly possible. But they will go on to face Red Death, Money, and Hakeo Jason Shepard this week. Should be a pretty good match. You know, Killer Goons, I can't remember which iteration of them, but they're former Trios champs as a faction. So, this match should be pretty even. Champs better bring it, though. Our other number one contender match featured Sinister versus the Street Fight King and Cats and Corey. And it was to determine the number one contender for the tag team titles. And this iteration of Sinister featured a Darkstalker and Shona Campbell. Cats and Corey was able to pin Shona and pick up the win and move on to a tag team title match. And they will face Queen Siren and Tezzeret this week. Well, I thought that Sinister will win that one. No discredit to the winners. It was a close match. But you're going up against a former tag team champ. You know. He knows what it takes. But hey, things happen. Hey, but the Darkstalker does have a title match, though, this week. He will be going up for the U.S. title. So, let's see if he can win that. Guess that'd be a good consolation prize. Now, our other number one contender match was to determine who would go to face the television champion, and it was the sponsored athlete Jalen Masters versus the idol Steve Sampson. And once again, folks, time limit draw. Third match of the night. We had 3 top matches of the night, which means the television champion is going to have to face both of those guys. You gotta hate it when it's a triple threat match. If they bring that intensity, I mean, this one could be up in the air. What? Who would I pick to win? Ooh. Come on, you know my answer. Sponsored athlete. Yeah, because he'll look, wins this match, gets the title, goes into WrestleMania a champion. What do you gotta do? Easy, right? Now, our first championship match was to determine the triple threat champion, and it was Lycan Umbras taking on the South Bronx Savage versus Martel the Carpenter. And yes, folks, I won't keep you in suspense. Martel did get pinned by Lycan. You know, it's good to see Lycan Umbras getting back on track. Sometimes getting a title can help. And this time he won't fall into the same trap. He's gonna hold on to it. If he loses it this time, it'll be because the title was up for grabs and lost it. But I don't know. I foresee a pretty good run for Lycan Umbras. Remember, all he has to do win 4 times. Well, 3 now. 3 more. It's an IC shot. Nobody's done it in a while. So that tells you how tough it is to hold on to that title. Now, in the television title match, it was Nurka Hardy taking on the badass Eddie Von Detti. And I swear to God, dude, the badass Eddie Von Detti, man, that guy has, like, no luck. I mean, yeah, it takes more than luck to win a match. But, poor guy, man. Match went to a time limit draw, and Nurkahante retained. So close. He's getting frustrated. Getting that close to winning a title and coming up short. He'll get it. I have no doubt about it, but that shit's frustrating. He knows he can do it. I think he can do it. What about you, Flip? You think you can do it? Yeah, you can do it. Let's keep your head up. In our final match, it was the U.S. champion, Fat Thomas, taking on the Beast. And he was able to retain his title, defeating the Beast, laying him down for the night. You would think he would have been full after all them nachos he ate. But hey, he had just enough energy to hit the eclipse on the Beast and hold him down. And that was it, folks. That was all the matches from last week. Hats off to all the competitors that fought. Y'all busted your asses. Which brings me to my rant. Now, Philip will not be showing up tonight. He did tell me who his pick was for the week, and we'll post that in the description. But we're going to dive into something, folks, because honestly, it's been bugging me all week, folks. And you heard me mention earlier about Luscious Lucius coming out and saying he thinks he's a woman because he makes sandwiches. Well, he said that he identifies as a woman. And folks, a lot of people are angry And I don't think it's because he chose to identify as a woman. It's because of what he wants. He wants a title shot at the Women's International Championship. Me personally, I don't really care what you identify as. But I don't think you should be handed anything here in WBA. And I know the Booker's been trying their hardest to just make sure there's at least a number one contender match. Whether you deserve to be in that number one contender match, that's a different story for another day. But just to feel entitled like you deserve a shot because you identify as a woman. Our ladies here in WPA bust their ass. There's been times when they just stuck somebody in the title match, but they didn't just stick them in there because it was their turn. They stuck them in based on the body of their work. So to come in and say you want a title shot just because now you think you're a woman, it's a slap in the face to them. And we can jaw jack and go back and forth on one, and this is just my opinion, but some of you people who out there that are egging them on, giving your support, I think you're full of shit. Because in one hand, you're supporting him or her, talking about people are discriminating. Nobody's discriminating. We haven't even gotten to WrestleMania week. Now, if he doesn't get the match, then you can maybe say that, but I don't know, maybe the admin decided to throw a set and say, fuck no. Earn it. We're not going to just give it to you. They just gave him a tag team shot. And then he left his partner high and dry. What would you do if the champ was like, I'm not facing her? Make him earn it. But my problem, and I heard somebody say this, and I agree to an extent with Jackson Aries. Where was that energy when he was degrading the women here in WPA? Calling them all kinds of things. And they're still doing it too, by the way. I don't know too many transgender women that will go out their way to still make misogynistic comments when they're identifying as a woman. The slippery slope, folks. How far do you take kayfabe? Because I'm sorry, you can keep telling people you're in a prediction league, you should know what to expect. But keep in mind, even in the wrestling world, stories sometimes draw off of real world events. And if you think it's entertaining to use a transgender plight to entertain you, then you're the real dipshits. Or perceived transgender angle. I mean, I've asked some people last night, without giving no names, hey, what do you think about this? And they said it was like the laziest shit they had ever heard in their life. And these were wrestling fans. And when I say last night, I mean Saturday. Pushing the envelope, folks. You're talking about a guy who makes it his business to just push your buttons and push the envelope because he thinks it's entertaining. And the sheep follow right behind him. Didn't see them coming to any women's aid when he called them out their names. And then Philip Turner, Jackson Aries, defends his woman and asks the question, when is enough enough? And you keep calling him a woman beater. Now, honestly, that's defamation of character right there. He's not a woman beater. He's in a match. That means half of you talking are women beaters, because you've been in matches with women. At some point in time, folks, I hope the shoe's never on the other foot. Because when it is, and you're the one with the problem, I want you to remember that energy you gave. And remember, it's just kayfabe. Still doesn't give you an excuse to take it too far. That's my 2 cents, folks. And if you don't like it, that's how many fucks I have to give about it. As always, tell your loved ones you love them and give them a hug. Pick up the phone and call that friend that might need to hear your voice. It'll be a saving grace. And don't drink and drive, folks. And do better than NBA. Let's be a little bit more creative. There's plenty of stories out there. Stop handing out title shots. I'm not talking about challenging the champ. They taking it on themselves to accept their challenge. I'm talking about expecting that shit without earning. You want a title shot? Go get a number 1 contender match. Hell, I've watched Sterling J call out Lucius in them for a match. And I'm pretty sure if they had a match and he won and he moved on to women's title shot, she'd say nothing. But we all know he won't do it. Or you could do what I do. I just ignore the bitch. Deuces. Say what, Flip? Flip, look at my face right now. Look right at my face. Do I look like I give a fuck? Yeah. I said what I said.